Hi everyone, and welcome to another tutorial. So today I'm going to show you how to make this really cool Carmen bracelet, and this was designed by Looming Cyrus on Instagram. I will bring up his profile on Instagram in just a little bit, but first I wanted to give you guys a little look at this bracelet. It is super duper nice and super neat, and the sides look a little bit different. Like this one has some longer bands, and then the other side you can see both sides. So whichever side you want to wear it on, you can wear it on. And this bracelet is super nice. I love it. I have actually made a couple of them already. But let me bring up Looming Cyrus's profile here on Instagram. So I will have his name in the description box below as well. Make sure to check out his account on Instagram. And oh my gosh, he's come up with a lot of really cool original designs, some of which I've done tutorials for. And his edits are really nice as well, and so are his color combos. So again, that's Looming Cyrus. I will make sure to have his name in the description box below. Make sure to check him out and give him a follow for me. And I'm going to show you how to make this today. So you can make this on 6 or 8 pins because of one of the stitches in this bracelet, but I am only doing 6 because that's how I learned it. That's how he taught me, so I'm going to do 6, but if you really want to, you can do 8. If you're going to do 8, just put one more pin on each of the side aligned with this. So anyway, without wasting your time any further, let's get started. So you're going to need a hook, a C-clip, and as many colors of bands as you want. I'm only using 2 today. And what you're going to want to do is be placing the border here first, and I'm going to be using yellow today. Here it's rose jelly on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and use yellow. Place your first band or your first 2 bands across that those 2 bottom pegs. Then go up to the outside, and then horizontally to the outside as well. Now what you're going to do is go straight all the way up until you reach the second to last pin on your loom. Then you're going to stop there, and we're not going to place any more bands until we've placed the rest of them, like the rest of our layers. So I'll show you what that looks like when I get to the end, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and continue placing these all the way down till I reach the end of my loom, and then I'll show you what comes next. So once you reach this part on your loom, what you're going to do is stop right here. You're not going to place any more bands up and into the center. Like I said before, we're going to have to place them after we place the rest of our layers. So once your loom looks like this, go ahead and come back to the beginning of your loom. Also, if you are making this on 2 full looms, or if you are making this on 2 looms without an extension like this, you will want to go all the way to the end, and if you have a bigger wrist, maybe to a 3rd set of looms, because this took 2 full looms and it is still a little bit tight on my wrist. So just my recommendation if you want to. So anyway, once you are ready to continue, let's go ahead and continue. So the next bands we're going to place are actually going to be these this next row of pink X's here. And I use rose jelly for all of the pink in this bracelet, and then just gray for the gray. So what we're going to do is ignore these gray bands here for now. That's if you're doing the 8-pin version, you'll just place the gray bands horizontally. Otherwise, if you're not, don't worry about it. I will show you how to do those after we start looping. So anyway, starting with your X band, you're going to go up into the center and up into the center. Then you're going to go back out and back out. And right now it's going to look a little bit weird because it's yellow right next to yellow, but obviously in here it's pink, gray, pink. So anyway, you're going to continue going up into the center and then back to the outside. Same here, up into the center, then back to the outside. And you're going to go ahead and do this all the way down till you reach the end of your loom, and I'll show you what it looks like when you get there. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so once you have finished placing all of those bands, you're going to stop here with your X's, and then once you have done that, go ahead and come back to the beginning of your loom. Next thing we're going to do is place the second row of gray bands in here, so it's this inner row, and I'm going to be using the cocoa bands for this. And what you're going to do is start on this peg here, and you're going to go up into the center, then on the other side, oops, that band is really thin, go up into the center, and then go up to the next peg and go up into the center and up into the center, and then just continue up into the center, up into the center, and you're just going to continue doing this all the way down until you reach the end of your loom, and I'll show you what to do once you get there. So once you reach this point, what you're going to do is stop here because we don't want to place any more bands because we will be placing a border band here, but not yet because we still have to place the center here. So anyway, once you have finished placing your bands up to this point and this point only, go ahead and come back to the beginning of your loom. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is placing the very center set of these pink bands here, still using yellow. And what you're going to do is just place an X like we were doing on the outside, so just go from the bottom, or I guess from the bottom left up to the top right, and the bottom right up to the top left. And whichever band is your bottom band, just continue to do that all the way down the center. And go ahead and do this all the way down the loom, and then I'll show you how to kind of close this off, and then we can start the looping. Okay, so you're going to actually put your X's all the way down here at the end, and then once you have done that, go ahead and take another border band and go across, and then you're going to take another border band and go up into the very center here. Same on the other side, you're going to go across, and then you're going to go up into the very center. And then what you're going to go ahead and do is turn your loom around so the arrows are pointing towards us. We're not going to currently place any more bands, but we will be placing some after we loop some, so it can get a little bit confusing, so make sure to watch to the end of the tutorial to make sure that you are doing this right, because it's such a neat bracelet and I don't want you guys to mess this up. Just because it looks really nice, and I hope that yours comes out really nice too. So what you're going to do is take one band, one cap band, you're going to cap it on your hook, just a regular cap band, and then pull across these two pegs, the two center pegs. Then we can go ahead and start the looping. So first thing you're going to do is go underneath of the cap band, and you're going to grab the top band here, which is the yellow border band. You're going to pull it out to itself. Same thing on the other side, pull the other yellow out to itself, and then pull this yellow to the very outside, and this yellow to the very outside. And once you've done that, now we can start doing the center here. So grabbing the bottom band, mine is on the left, make sure that your bottom band is the one that you're grabbing. You're going to pull it to itself. Then grab the other band, the top band, you're going to pull that one to itself. And then again, grabbing the bottom band, pulling that to itself. And the top band, pulling that to itself. And just continue doing this all the way down the loom. It should start to look something like this. And just like I said before, make sure you are grabbing the bottom band and then the top band and looping them straight to themselves. And then go ahead and continue down to the rest of your loom, and I'll show you what to loop next. So the last bands are going to be looped up to here, and then once you have all of that looped, go ahead and come back to the beginning of your loom. Next thing we're going to do is loop the cocoa. So the cocoa looping is really simple. You just have to go underneath of this band, and you're going to grab that cocoa band, and you're going to pull it out to itself, and that's all you have to do. And then go into the next peg, pull that cocoa band out to itself. If this X band pops off the peg, you can just put it back on, or leave it. Just make sure that your cocoa band does not come off, because it's important that it stays on for the looping. So go ahead and just continue looping this down the loom. It's a very simple looping step. You're just looping this band on the inside out to itself. And then I'm going to do the other side. It doesn't matter which order you go in, if you go top to bottom, bottom to top. For this particular step, if you start on the left or on the right, it's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and go backwards down this part of my loom. And just like that, I am almost ready to start looping the next step. So just like that, once you have that, you might want to push down these bands. And the next step that we're going to do is looping the X bands, but after we loop the X bands, then comes the kind of complicated step. So make sure to pay attention for that. And just like the center, we're going to be looping these outside bands the same. We're going to grab the bottom band and pull it to itself, then the top band to itself. So this is my bottom band here. I'm just going to go inside and grab it and pull it to itself. Grab the top band, from inside of here. I'm going to pull that to itself. And then grab the bottom band, pull it to itself. Top band, pull it to itself. And try not to get your bands twisted if you can. It just looks really nice when they're nice and neat and untwisted. And just go ahead and continue looping that bottom X band to itself, then loop the top one, then go on to your next set, and continue looping this down the left side of your loom, and then go to the right side, or vice versa if you loop the right side first. And then I'll come back to the beginning of my loom, and I'll show you what to loop kind of next. It's going to be a weird looping step, so just make sure to pay attention. Okay, so once you have looped up to the top, what you're going to want to do is just push down those top two bands up here, and just leave the rest of these up because it's going to be easier in the long run when we start to do this next step. So then just go ahead and push down these two outside bands. And now what we're going to do is actually be doing a stitch some of you might know as a puff stitch. It's where you take a band here. I'm going to use Cocoa. It's the gray in this bracelet here on the outside. And not on the first peg, but on the second peg, you're going to stick your hook down through those bands. You're going to put a Cocoa band on your hook, pull it through, and then attach both ends. You're going to pull that X band off, and then put your Cocoa band on. It is a little bit difficult to put these on, especially on camera, but you'll get it once you do it a couple of times. I can do it pretty fast now. I just haven't tried it on camera before, so that's just what it's going to look like. And if you have the 8-pin loom, you're just going to loop that directly to the outside, and then you're going to loop it up. And then you're just going to continue doing this all the way down the loom. So I'm going to try and turn my loom sideways here. You're going to stick your hook down through, and then don't grab that border band. Leave that border band alone. But you're just going to grab this Cocoa band, you're going to pull through both sides, make sure that both ends of that Cocoa band are on your hook, pull that off, and then put both ends, or both loops, over there. And then go up to the next peg. Again, stick your hook through just those two X loops, grab that band and pull it off, and then put both loops back on. If they're twisted, you can untwist them, but usually when you pull this off the loom, it'll untwist itself. So anyway, you can go ahead and do this to the top of your loom, and then do it to the other side, and then I'll show you what to do next. So all you're doing is taking a puff band and just pulling it through. It's easier because they are X bands. Sometimes they aren't as easy. But anyway, I hope you guys understand this because it's a pretty simple stitch for something that you're doing kind of off of the loom. So I hope that this isn't too hard for you guys, and if you need more instructions, you can obviously rewind this. Once you do it a couple of times, it should be pretty easy. So once you get to the end of your loom, or the second to last peg, you're going to stop here because these top bands here are connected to the border, so we don't need to put a puff band on those. But once you have all of these, so you're skipping the first one, you're skipping the last one, and you're going to push all of these down, and now you're going to do the other side. So usually I like to take this off here, and I actually have to transfer my hook here, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me. You can pull this through. Oops. After I show you this a couple times, I'm going to turn my loom around so that I can do it with my other hand. So you're going to pull this through, put both ends on, take it off, and then put both of these ends on the peg. Okay, I really cannot do this with my left hand. So, since I am right-handed, I'm going to turn my loom around when I do my right side. Just don't get confused. I'm still doing the same thing, just upside down, kind of, because it helps when I use my right hand here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the same thing that I did to the other side. If you're left-handed, you're probably going to want to turn the loom around for your left side to make it easier for you, unless you're ambidextrous, and you can use both of your hands to do both of these sides. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and continue doing the rest of this down my right side here, which is actually my left side when it's facing this way. And then I'll show you what to do next after I finish doing all of these. Okay, so I've just finished with my last band here. I'm going to turn my loom back around so that I have the ears pointing towards me, and then I can loop more bands now. I'm going to push down these outside bands, and once you're to this point, go ahead and just tune in, I guess. So what we're going to do now is loop the border. We've already looped out to here, so you're just going to grab the bottom band and pull it forward and forward. So go ahead and do this all the way down the loom. It's just like looping a simple single chain. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just loop it straight forward, up until you get to the end at least. And then what you can do is take these bands off so that they don't get stressed out so much. And then just continue looping. And then I'm at the top here. I'm going to go ahead and loop the other side. Then loop into the center, and then up into the top. Over here you're going to loop into the center, and up into the top. And then to take this off, you're going to grab that band that you placed across those two pegs there, and hold on to one half, and grab the other band and hold on to the other half. Then you can go ahead and pull this off of the loom. Be careful if you are using limited edition bands or even the opaque bands, because with X bands they get stretched enough, and then when you're trying to pull them off they get even more stretched. So just try not to break them as much as you can, because it's really sad when you break your bands and you just loomed all of this stuff and then take it off and you break a band and then you have to start over. So again, just my recommendation. I don't like to pull off my bands too hard or too roughly. So anyway, once you have finished your bracelet, it's going to look something like this, and it's going to look like this on this side, and then like this on the opposite side. So it kind of looks something like that. So I have made another one in a bunch of different colors, which I'll post on Instagram in a little bit. But anyway, that's going to do it for this tutorial. So thank you for watching. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I will have Looming Cyrus's name in the description box below. Make sure to check him out on Instagram and give him a follow for me. And that's all I'm going to have for you guys today. So I hope to see you next time.